Hey, it's 2 Cents Tuesdays. You know who I am, or maybe you don't. It's Dr. Jarrett. It's Tuesday. It's 1 o'clock. It's 2 Cents Tuesdays. And I am here to talk to you guys on pediatric tips every single week at Tuesday. So, you guys probably wondering, and I know we do this as a seasonal show sometimes, and one of the things that we often talk about are Halloween and Halloween safety. And we've talked about it again, but you can't have enough tips about these to let it go. Hey Rhonda, thanks for joining in. I feel so youthful and invigorated right now. I can't take it. Hey Tamari, how you doing today? Thanks for tuning in to 2 Cents Tuesdays. We are talking every Tuesday, something that is going to help you guys. Hey Paulette, thanks for tuning in today. Something that will help you guys get some better care and better outcomes for your kids. Sometimes we talk about safety, sometimes it's behavior. As I am a behavioral coach and I help people, I do it through my books, Whose Badass Kids Are Those, as well as my online boot camps and programs. So there's a lot of things that we have going on. So today, as I can't stand this mask anymore, we'll talk about some things that you can do to keep your kids better engaged for Halloween and hopefully keep them safe during this time. Because if you think about Halloween, Halloween is one of the few times that you really just say it's acceptable to go walk up to strangers' houses and ask for something, and you do it with your kids. Think about it. Some people have taken a modified approach to Halloween. Sometimes they have trunk or treats. They have some of these other things that maybe you know some people that are there and it's a little bit more open environment. But a lot of times, good old-fashioned Halloween trick-or-treat days, you're just walking right on through, going directly to a stranger's house and asking them for a treat. This is okay in the majority of cases. I mean, a lot of times people get scared with the old urban legends of people putting razor blades in apples or safety pins or needles inside of candy bars. And more recently, we've heard stories of marijuana-laced candies being distributed out to kids during those times. So yeah, the candy in and of itself is safety because one, let's just get it out there. The candy itself is not that good for them anyway. So we suffer with so much childhood obesity. It creates a problem a lot of times. And so be very careful with the type of stuff that you're giving your kids. So you may not want them to eat a whole bunch of candy. There's a lot of candy donation that gives some things away. But you may want to be safe, make sure the packaging looks good and all of that. But that's not really where your real risk comes from, getting candy from strangers. Candy has its own dangers. Getting stuff from strangers has its own dangers. And you can weed through that and using your own things, particularly if your kid has allergies to something. And there may be nuts or milk or eggs in some of these treats. You're going to have to really go through and read labels. And if there's any doubt, just throw it out or donate it. A lot of communities have set up candy redonation themes that get you there. But I'm going to talk about some other things that you can do to help keep your child safe. So this time of year, particularly on the East Coast, the nights come a lot quicker. So that daylight is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And trick-or-treat times or Halloween times are actually set up during times when it's probably pretty dark out. And believe it or not, most injuries, although those razor-bladed apples and pins and candy get a lot of attention, those are few and far between, and most injuries don't happen that way. Most injuries happen by simple things. Kids maybe getting hit by cars because they're not paying attention. Kids that trip on sidewalks or streets and hurt themselves, maybe twist an ankle, maybe even unfortunately break bones. Those things type to pull up. And it tends to be a safety issue more than anything. And so there's a lot of people that come through and have this issue with safety during Halloween. So we've talked about it before. You can go back to the library, but I'm giving you a few more tips this year about trick-or-treating and Halloween for all of you guys out there. So we started off with this mask as a decent example of a safety hazard or a potential safety hazard. When you are buying Halloween costumes for your kids, you want to try to find things that fit on their body properly, so they're not overly loose, they're not hanging on it or walking on it, because then they tend to trip and fall, and then that's where you get the injuries from tripping and falling on the sidewalk or on a curb. You actually, if they are wearing a mask, you're going to want to be particularly careful. The type of mask you use is going to be extremely important. And if you look at this mask actually has coverings that are over the eyes that actually restrict vision even more. So although it looks kind of cool there, you see that it actually restricts the child's vision. And that's something that causes a lot of injury, because not only are they walking around in the dark, but they can't see because something is clouding their field of vision. And it's not only their direct field of vision that you're going to be interested in, it's actually their peripheral vision that you're looking for. So really, when they have a mask on, they can only see what's directly in front of them. They don't see overhanging branches that may be in the side field of their vision. They don't see some of these other things that can occur. So restricting vision directly impacts the amount of accidents and problems that kids tend to have during this time. So make sure that if you see something like this, you want to make sure at least you're cutting it out. And so as I had this on trying to do my show, I had to take it off because, well, it actually was difficult for me to even see what I was doing. And I'm just sitting here talking to you guys today on 2 Cents Tuesdays, let alone if I were out in the dark trying to avoid branches or other obstacles that may be out there during trick-or-treat season. You're there. How you doing, Asher? Thanks for tuning in. It's 2 Cents Tuesdays. It's Tuesday. It's 1 p.m. Eastern, and I'm Dr. Jarret. I'm sorry for creeping you guys out today, but we are talking Halloween and Halloween safety. So in addition to being able to just keep these different masks and not obstructing their field of vision, if there's a way that they can actually see appropriately, that's something good. But something else you may want to consider is something like a simple flashlight that they carry around, because that serves two purposes. A simple flashlight can increase their field of vision because it adds the brightness to the sidewalk. So if there's cracks or things that they may be stumbling across, they actually can get there and see that. And particularly if they have a mask that's not obstructing their view. Remember, the mask has to not obstruct your view. So you want to make sure that you're looking at that. And by this flashlight occurring, because a lot of Halloween costumes are very dark, they blend in well with the night because they're intended to be scary. So if you have this flashlight, it actually increases visibility to other pedestrians, bicyclists, and of course the drivers are what you really want to be worried about, because a lot of times kids get so excited about this, even if they're walking around with you, or maybe they're older kids and you have them kind of navigating their own Halloween festivities. They get so excited over the candy, they forget the basic safety principles like look both ways before you cross the street, stuff that you've been teaching them since they were 3 years old. They forget those type of things and they walk out and it's like, something else. They just can't be seen. So if they're carrying a flashlight and it is on, it gives better visibility to others. As well as giving their own selves some visibility that they can actually walk forward and take care of. So keep all of that in mind. The further precaution that I would have you do, hey Cindy, thanks for tuning in today. It's Tuesday, it's 2 Cents Tuesdays with Dr. Jarret. We're talking about Halloween safety tips and things that you can do to protect your kids or grandkids as they go through the Halloween season. And the first thing we talked about is something like this mask that you can see covers up my direct field of vision. So yeah, it looks kind of creepy because you can't see my face. and it looks like I'm just a walking skull, particularly in here. But I can't see anything, and I'm sitting here in the middle of the day with bright light around me. It's very difficult for me to see. So you want to make sure that the kids have something that will not obstruct their vision, both direct vision. So this is probably an example of something that's very bad for your kids because they just can't see. So that not only their direct vision, but their peripheral vision and what they see out of the side. Because if they're just walking through with tunnel vision, that is a problem. They could get injured. The other, thank you. I feel very youthful today, Cindy. The other thing is that as they're walking around in the dark, most of the injuries that occur, it's not from candy and people trying to poison kids. It's actually from falls, trips, sprains, and vehicle accidents. So we talked about carrying a flashlight, and the flashlight will help increase the child's visibility as they're walking along the sidewalk, and it helps increase their visibility to others, other motorists, other bicyclists, other people that may be out on sidewalks or streets, to give a warning that there may be a kid nearby. So it doesn't hurt to tell your kids to make sure they look both ways before they cross the street. They've been taught that forever, but something about Halloween and the promise of more candy makes them think that they are immune from this. So we do see, unfortunately, a lot of vehicular accidents with children or groups of children being hit because they just weren't properly lit. So the final tip I'm going to give you guys today really is you can just go and buy some sort of reflective stickers or reflective packs that you can actually put on these Halloween costumes, because a lot of times these Halloween costumes are dark and they appear very they don't show up well because they're meant to be scary, or they're hiding in a bush and scaring other people. But actually adding reflective stickers, and you can get them at any hardware store, probably even the grocery store aisles have them at this time. Sporting goods stores tend to have them because runners will use them if they don't put on a reflective vest, which is something else that you could use as an alternative. Something that's very bright, like a hunting vest or a reflective vest that people may, reflective safety vest. But if nothing else, you can use these stickers. And you can put the stickers on top of the costume that gives some reflection, particularly to other motorists that are driving by. So it actually raises the motorist awareness of having your kids out there in the street. Even though they know they may be trick-or-treating, they're not expecting them to be in the middle of the street or crossing the street, or perhaps jaywalking because they're going back and forth across the house. So I wanted you guys to have these 3 big tips to make sure you're keeping your kids safe. And it all starts with the purchasing of that Halloween costume. Make sure that they can see, then they have a good field of vision. Make sure that they are seen. That means carrying a flashlight, or perhaps having some sort of reflective wear on top of their costume so that they are seen. Because I told you before, the candy poisonings, the razor blades in the apples, all the urban legends and wives' tales that are out there, they may happen, but they are extremely, extremely rare. It's really the trips, falls, bumps, bruises, broken bones that occur during the trick-or-treat season that actually cause most of the problems. And I wanted to give you guys 3 tips here today to stay safe. So I'm Dr. Jarret. I'm your board-certified pediatrician and behavioral coach, here to help parents who want to get a little bit better behavior out of their child. And I do this through my Whose Badass Kids Are Those #1 best-selling book, my Whose Badass Kids Are Those boot camp, as well as my other coaching programs I have available. All you have to do is continue to tell people about this show. I'm on every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern, and like the show, like the episode, and I will keep it going. I do want to give a special shout out. I got over 500 likes now on Dr. Jarret's page. And that's really a testimony that you guys want to see more material coming, and I will continue to deliver it. So thank you for all those that have liked my page. If you haven't liked my page yet, make sure you do. And I will see you guys next time. Take care.